In this video, we'll look at how to create rope joints in Corona SDK. Joints can be used to assemble complex physical objects from multiple rigid bodies. For example, joints can be used to join the limbs of a rag doll figure, attach the wheels of a vehicle to its body, create a moving elevator platform, and so on. Most joints are used to connect two rigid physical bodies, which means you must create these bodies first and then submit them as arguments to the physics.newJoint constructor function, along with other properties that may vary depending on the type of joint being created. A rope joint connects two objects by a theoretical, non-elastic rope. This restricts the maximum distance between the two bodies, even if there are other significant forces upon them. The initial arguments of physics.newJoint are the type of joint to create, along with bodies A and B to join, followed by optional localized offset points which can be used to set non-center anchor points for each end of the rope. When configuring a rope joint, the offset values are optional and default to 0 unless set otherwise. Unlike other joints, these X and Y values should not be specified in content space. Instead, they should be considered as localized offset values related to either body. For example, if you specify 0, 0, 0, 0, the rope ends will be attached to the center of each body. However, if you specify -20, -20, 10, 10, the rope end attached to body A will be offset 20 pixels left and upward of its center point, while the rope end attached to body B will be offset 10 pixels right and downward of its center point. The maximum length of the rope can be set via the ropeJoint.maxLength property. Unlike a distance joint, which can be used to keep bodies at a fixed distance apart, the theoretical rope can bend and flex like an actual rope, but the maximum distance will always be constrained to this value. You can also set other properties to influence how rope joints function. Check the documentation located on the Corona Labs website for more details. Let's look at some sample code for creating rope joints. In this example, we've added our required physics library, started the physics engine, and set our gravity. We've also set the draw mode to hybrid so we can see where the anchor points connect. Next, we've created 3 shapes. 2 of the shapes are circles that will be joined together, and the third shape acts as our ground. Both circles are given dynamic body types so they can move around. Next, we create our joint by calling physics.newJoint and passing in the required parameters. Finally, we set a max length of 250 to keep the circles relatively close to each other. If a joint is no longer needed, you can destroy it by calling either object:"removeSelf" or display.remove. It's important to note that if one of the joined bodies is destroyed, the associated joint will be automatically destroyed as well. However, remember to properly remove and nil any references to a joint which has been destroyed. And that's a look at how to create rope joints in Corona SDK. Learn more about working with Corona SDK at coronalabs.com/university.